Hey guys, my name is Ryan, and welcome to Overwatch Central. Today we're sitting down with Symmetra player Fenner to basically talk about the state of her as a hero. We could have sat down with other Symmetra players that have been playing her since Season 1, that live and breathe this hero, but I figured that Fenner was a good person to sit down with, because he only started playing Symmetra when the rework came in, and he's not afraid to switch off it if things aren't going well. So it's more of an unbiased view on the state of the hero that he definitely feels that people are underestimating, especially in one significant area. We'll be going over that and a little bit more in this video. You can check out Fenner in the description below, but let's get started. So because we haven't had you on the channel before, all Fenner, who are you? Previous experience playing, because you weren't a player that started with Symmetra initially, but why should people listen to you when it comes to talking about Symmetra?
Hi, I'm Daniel, and I play a lot of Overwatch, basically. I switched to Overwatch after being a StarCraft 2 pro gamer and a turned streamer, and then Overwatch came out and I fell in love with the game. Mostly, I guess at the start of the game I kind of played whatever, but then I kind of fell in love with Tracer. And then all up until Brigitte was released, I kind of stopped playing Tracer because she made the game unfun for Tracer, in my opinion. And then a lot of heroes coming out after that, like Ashe as well, one-shot in Tracer, and then Torb getting stronger. Tracer is not as fun to play anymore, in my opinion. So I decided to switch to Sim after the rework. As like my main hero, I don't just one-trick. I play her because I truly think that she's strong. And she gives me that mobility fix that I love. I love mobility with heroes, and I think Symmetra has a lot of mobility, but can also be extremely safe at the same time while having a lot of mobility. And like the last 3 or 4 seasons, I think I played, not only Symmetra, but a lot of Symmetra. I think I've racked up like 300 to 350 hours in the last 3 or 4 seasons of Symmetra.
There are so many other players that have been Symmetra-focused players ever since, Season 1, where she was a very different character. You came in and started playing Symmetra a lot more when Brigitte came in, but I guess, of course, when new Symmetra was reworked. Why was that, I suppose? Like, what was the change in playing Symmetra for then a huge difference, really? That it made you actually consider her a lot more competitively, I suppose it would be.
Well, I think the old Symmetra was good, but only in very situational positions. Like, I used to play the old Symmetra on, like, 0.1 Hanamura defense. And she was really good on defense, but I think on attack, there was just better heroes that you can play. After the rework, I think she's a completely different hero. I don't think she's the same at all. And I think she now is super versatile. Whereas a lot of DPS heroes, with so many in the game right now, you kind of have to switch off of them, if they're against certain compositions. Like, let's say you're playing a Pharah and, they have like McCree, Ashe, or they've got a really good Widow on the enemy team. You're not going to have a good time. But Symmetra goes well against almost anything, apart from a Pharah if you don't have a hit scan DPS on your team.
I guess it's really interesting because one of the things that provoked this sort of discussion, I suppose, was we did a video looking at Symmetra's pick rate in the pro scene, and whilst she has the second worst pick rate, the only one that's worse is Ashe, she's been played in very specific situations by a bunch of teams. Now, much like a lot of people at the highest tier, GOATS is played an awful lot because it's good basically all of the time. It means that pro teams can just practice that one composition all of the time, and it's useful in any given situation. Why do you think then that some teams are putting so much stock into running Symmetra, and I guess specifically on attack?
Well, since I played her a lot myself, I can speak for a lot, like which position she's good in. And I think the best positions for Symmetra. Actually, let me just touch on GOATS. I mean, everyone plays GOATS because, if you only have to practice like one style, you don't have to worry about practicing anything else. You can just get really good at that. So it's really scary for a team to go practice another hero that's just completely off meta because they could just be wasting time. So yeah. But Symmetra is generally best on a map where you can kind of just bypass the choke. So Hanamura 0.1, I think, was the first time Symmetra was used in the Overwatch League. And on that point, you can basically say, okay, we're not going to fight at the choke. We're just going to go straight past it and then play the point. And when you have a map like that, you can basically save yourself losing your shield before you have to, fight on the point. So you basically save your shield and you get a better position on the point. So you're basically defending at that point.
It says a lot that some teams are actively practicing this composition. This isn't just kind of like when they run quad DPS to see if it works and it doesn't. It's like some teams, and it's not just stuff like Chengdu Hunters, which are known to run really weird comps in the Overwatch League. It's quite a few that are actively trying to make Symmetra work on attack. Do you feel that they're almost onto something, that you can see almost a future where on maps like Hanamura, every team will try and run Symmetra on attack? Or do you feel that it's always going to be quite a niche strategy to run?
Yeah, I don't think it will be like all the time. Like if Symmetra started to get picked more, I don't think it's going to be every single time, because even on the ladder right now, like people kind of expect Symmetra on Hanamura. She's actually picked a lot on the ladder, and then they'll just play the point, and you kind of reduce the effectiveness of Symmetra a bit, because then if you try to skip the choke, you're just teleporting straight on top of them. But it's really good specifically just as that play, just to like mix it up a bit and throw in something a little bit special that might catch them off guard. And if it doesn't work, Symmetra is still strong, especially with her ultimate.
How much of an impact if, say, Goat's comp just disappeared overnight, how much of a resurgence would Symmetra in particular get, if any? Because you have seen some other players like Steve-O, Evil Toaster, Color Bastion run in that boss comp of Bastion, Orisa, Symmetra. Mm-hmm. Do you think that that's something that could definitely make a big explosion, I suppose, in pick rate, I guess it would be, because bunker comp is one of those things that people have been like, oh yeah, this is going to be the next meta. Of course, it really isn't at this point, but with Goats slowly going out, it seems that bunker comp could come in, and Symmetra would really add to that.
Well, I think in terms of the meta, Symmetra is really good with bunker and also against bunker. So like the two metas that I imagine would happen if Goats died is either bunker comp right now, or 2-2-2, or those Hammond based compositions with like Hammond and 3 DPS. I think she's good with bunker and against bunker. With bunker because she can set up turrets, and you can also teleport the Bastion around, which is giving Bastion like really good mobility. Against bunker because you can a really good thing I like to do on ladder, and this usually works, is just telly under the bunker, put your whole team under the bunker comp, and then they usually have to drop down, which is good for you because they have to move. She's really bad against Hammond compositions though, in my opinion, unless you're like defending on like a 2CP map or something, and you can really just bunker up yourselves. But like if you're playing like 2-2-2, or you're trying to play like Hammond yourself, then she has no stun. She does have slow, but Hammond tends to just slam and kill all the turrets. So you kind of just got to spread them out, and then Hammond can kind of just jump on the Symmetra and just kill her. So she's not that good against Hammonds, which is why I haven't actually been playing her as much this season, because there's a lot of Hammond comps on ladder. She is very, very good against Reinhardt composition, so like your standard 2-2-2. But that's not that common at the minute. There's a lot of Orisa, which she can be good against Orisa as well, but it depends on the map, because you really need to be able to connect the left click to the shield. If your Orisa's like too far back and their Orisa's too far back, and you can't connect the left click to the shield, there's just better heroes to play. Like Hanzo can just do more DPS at that range, so there's not much point in playing Symmetra. But if you can connect to the shield and you can get the level 3 beam, then she's really powerful. So again, it becomes map dependent.
Do you think it's one of those things that just over time, kind of like the Doomfist effect, that as more players really get used to her kit and the meta switches away from Goats to something else, that popularity will just increase over time? Or do you think that like more changes need to come? I guess we can ask what changes you'd like to see, but right now, I guess, just naturally, will her pick rate go up over time as people get used to her?
I do think as more people pick her in the Overwatch League, which I think is definitely going to happen, even if it's just, situational surprise plays or whatever, I think people are going to start accepting her. I think even like since I played her for 3 seasons now, I think people are accepting her more. Like 3 seasons ago, I'm not joking, I would get like 2 avoid warnings every single day. And now I'm getting like 1 avoid warning a week, and there's definitely way more Symmetras on the ladder in general. So like the pick rate's gone up even in just over the last 3 seasons, and people kind of just accept us. So it's already happening. I think people are realizing the potential.
It feels like there is an element of people underestimating Symmetra. Would you say that's true?
Yeah, definitely. A lot of people forget that she's got like really insane damage as well. Like a lot of time when I'm playing on ladder, like people are just like, oh man, Symmetra does no damage, we need to switch off. And then, you realize that she actually does 180 DPS with a massive clip where you barely have to reload, and it's got free reload against shield. So like, she's really good against Rhine-based compositions because you can kind of just charge up on the shield and move back and forth. It gets a little bit harder against like Orisa-based compositions because it's harder to get the range on the Orisa shield. And then against Hammond-based compositions, she's honestly really not good at all, I don't think.
Is there anything else that springs to mind? Because you said that she's high mobility too, which is quite an interesting take, but it does kind of make sense.
She's really high mobility, but again, you need the map for it, because if it's high mobility, but only in the range of the teleporter. So if you can make the distance to the point, then it's very good mobility. But I think one of the big things for Sim, which is also a problem for Torb as well, is that they've kind of just been seen as throw characters for a long time. And that still comes into play a lot, because like if let's say I don't start on Symmetra and I start let's just say I start McCree and then I switch to Sim, instantly, almost every time it's like, oh, so you're throwing the game then? So if you don't actually start on Sim, then people just see it as a throw pick. So that kind of mentality will probably go away over time, but it seems to be something that's just hard to get rid of.
Without making it too strong, there must be some changes that you would like to see. I've seen people bring up the fact that waiting 30 seconds for all of your turrets to sort of come back off cooldown is a bit excessive. Do you agree, or is there any other changes that spring to mind that you'd like Jeff Kaplan to have a look at?
So I think I think she is really good, and because she's so good in specialized scenarios, it's hard to make her stronger all round, because if you do, then she's going to be insane in those specialized scenarios. So I've thought about this, and I don't think she needs anything. But if we were to do something, I think the best thing would be to give a slightly longer range on the left click, because that's the biggest thing that limits her on certain compositions and maps. As for the turrets, I kind of like the cooldown on the turrets. I think if you could just throw out more all the time, she would be kind of ridiculous. And it really gives you a gameplay element where you need to actually think about where you put your turrets and stuff like that. One small thing though that should absolutely be in the game is turret targeting priority. Whether they did it like Torbjorn, which they added recently, where the turret attacks who you're attacking. Currently, Sim turrets just attack, I believe it's the person that is closest when they come in, and they just don't stop attacking until that target is dead.
Or
so
moves
if
out
that
of
target
proximity.
Yeah. So if that target gets slept, instantly get woken up. If it's a shield, they continue to just shoot the shield. And that's, you don't want to do that. You want to actually attack a hero. So they could do some kind of priority, always attack 200 HP hero, or the lowest HP hero first, and then not shoot sleeping targets, and definitely not shoot shields first. And I feel like that would be a nice little change, make her a little bit stronger and be less annoying for the player as well.
Whilst the state of Symmetra isn't ideal in any situation, but to be fair, she's a very situational pick anyway, you feel that it's just the meta, it's just not her meta, I guess it would basically boil down to.
Yeah, she's definitely not ideal against goats. I think she's great with bunker. I think she's great against bunker. I think she's not great against the ball comps, but I do think she's also really good against the 2-2-2 meta, which that's the place where I think she's underestimated the most, because once you get the level 3 beam, she's one of the highest shield DPS in the game, and if you can break the shield and go off of that, then I think she's better than most DPS heroes. So that's the place where I'd say she's underestimated the most. Oh, the other place, I wrote this down, where she's definitely underestimated, I think one of the strongest combos in the game is teleport and diva bombs, which I've only ever seen one other Symmetra do that. But it's just a crazy combo where it's only one ultimate and just a normal ability, but it seems like one of the strongest combos in the game to me, because if they're playing Rhine and you just telly a diva bomb, the Rhine doesn't know whether it's going to be on which side of the shield it's going to be on, so you can just wipe entire teams like that. It's kind of like Sombra diva bombs, but you don't actually need two ultimates.
Any final things I guess you want to say, especially to those that may want to try and play more Symmetra at this point? What kind of advice would you have for those players that want to play more, or just generally those that play competitive that keep running into Symmetra players that are actually trying the hardest and are in comms and stuff?
Well, if you're trying to climb a Symmetra, I think it's definitely good to be in voice comms. Unfortunately, there's a lot of Symmetras that kind of avoid voice comms because, again, you know, people see it as a throw pick and they kind of get a lot of abuse over comms. But Symmetra is a hero that needs coordination. So if you can just get on comms at the start of the game and just be like, hey, look, I'm going to telly to the point, make sure you press it when I put it down. And then when you put it down, just be like, hey, telly's down. That is huge because your team will generally listen if you try to do it. If you're playing against her, the best way to beat her is probably trying to get your team to go like Hammond 3 DPS. Another annoying thing is when you're against a Lucio and they just boop you away from your tally. So if you're against them, make sure you have a Lucio. It's annoying as hell.
And I guess finally, where can people see more of you playing this hero in not a typical just play this hero all of the time and hope for the best? Probably using it quite smartly. Where can people see more of you doing this? And all sorts of stuff, such as Hammond Racing, which you have been like working on and stuff like that.
So I got a YouTube and Twitch. They're both youtube.com and twitch.tv/Daniel Fenner. And that's pretty much it.
And that's it for this time. Thank you very much for watching. Do definitely check out Fenner in the description below. All of his links are there, his Twitch and that. Hope you found this video useful. Thanks for watching. Take care, and I'll see you next time.